Innovation. Yes, the word that guides businesses to make themselves stand up. Innovation is that one idea that companies look for to make themselves unique. And no, I am not here to talk about innovators like Thomas Alva Edison or about Steve Jobs. And no, I am certainly not here to talk about the innovations of the light bulb or the evolution of the personal computer industry. I am here to talk about how an innovation, let's say any innovation, spreads through the population or the social system. Hello and welcome to this educational module. My name is Anisha and to put it in academic words, I am here to talk about the diffusion of innovation theory. This theory was developed in 1962 by Everett M. The history of the theory can be quite a long-spanning one. What is unique about this theory is that it has been tried out in multiple disciplines by multiple diffusion researchers. For example, rural sociologists investigated the diffusion of agricultural innovations to farmers, while educational researchers studied the spread of new teaching methods among school personnel. The findings of all the domains are quite similar. The way people react to change is different. This research has also found out that people who adopt to an innovation early have different characteristics than people who adopt to the innovation later. How people adopt to an innovation can be categorized into 5 main categories. These are the innovators, the early adopters, the early majority, the late majority, and lastly, the laggards. To understand all of this better, let us take the example of Facebook. Maybe you do not use it today, but the probability is high that you have used it at some point of your life, right? But do you know how Facebook actually came into the market? If you have watched the movie The Social Network, you might have an idea. Facebook was not always the giant that we know of it as today. It was actually an innovation by the very famous Mark Zuckerberg. Innovators are those who venture out and are the first ones to develop the new ideas. According to multiple researches, 2.5% of our population consists of the innovators. Well, as we are talking about Facebook, I feel pretty evident that the innovator behind the idea of Facebook was Mark Zuckerberg. Also, what is included in this category are the early investors, who are the first ones to invest in the company. So these make up the part of the population known as the innovators. Next come the early adopters. Early adopters are comprised of those who are aware of the need to change and do not need a lot of information to adapt to the change. 13.5% of our population are the early adopters. Talking about Facebook, when it was launched, Mark Zuckerberg and his roommates were glued to their screens, watching as an estimated 1,200 to 1,500 of their fellow students signed up for their site within the first 24 hours of its existence. These people are what we call the early adopters. Next come the early majority. To appeal to this set of population, all you need is to show them the success stories of the innovation in real life. Our population is comprised of 34% of the early majority. From there on, Facebook steadily moved on to grow in the neighboring Boston area schools and the rest of the Ivy League colleges. These people comprise of the early majority. Next come the late majority. The late majority is the population that is skeptical of change and tries something only after the majority has tried it. 34% of our population is that of the late majority. Do you know who first introduced you to Facebook or be a part of it? Or maybe it was you yourself who asked others to be a part of it. Well, if you do, and if you are one of those people, then you belong to the late majority who are the first ones to adapt to an innovation in their daily life. Lastly, laggards. Laggards are the last people to adopt to an innovation and the hardest to impress. This is the general public and consists of the 16% of our population. And if you are like me, or belong to those people who joined Facebook because it was a fad and was being used by everyone, then my friend, you belong to the population of laggards. Certain keywords are very important when we talk about this theory. The first one being diffusion. Diffusion, which is the way an innovation is communicated through different people. Then, innovation. Innovation is an idea or a practice that is perceived as new. Next comes communication channel. Communication channel is the means by which an innovation is disseminated to an entire population. Most importantly, time. Time holds relevance to know how an adoption state changes the behavior of people. And lastly, the social system. These are the people, while adopting an innovation, who wish to achieve a common goal. Before wrapping up, let's do a small recap or a short revision of what we learned today. The first question: when was the theory developed and by whom? If you guessed, the theory of diffusion of innovation was developed in the year 1962 by Everett M. then you are correct. The next question: what are the 5 types of adopters? The correct answer being the 5 types of adopters are the innovators, the early adopters, the early majority, the late majority, and the laggards. And their percentages are 2.5%, 13.5%, 34%, 34%, and 16% respectively. Do you know which set of the population you belong to under the diffusion of innovation theory? Find out. Thank you. Until next time, happy learning.